Hey everybody, it's Chris Isbell with Martin and Associates. Thanks for joining us today in our dive into Creatio series. We'll be covering more no-code customizations. This is, I guess, our third series. I'm looking forward to continuing this. And if you do have any suggestions or something you'd like to see, shoot us a note and we'd be glad to review that. All right. Today, we will be covering, as I said, more no-code customization. So mainly today, we'll be covering business rules. So last session, we were talking about customizing a section, adding fields, moving them around, changing the display, publishing, that kind of stuff. And today, we'll kind of follow up on that and go into the business rules that are available and are continually being enhanced by Creatio as well. But today we'll be covering, the core ones, saying, hey, let's show a field or not, make a field editable or required, add a field filter and show you how that works, as well as set up a field value and different scenarios there. As usual, some good related info and links. Click on that. Creatio constantly updates their user documentation, which is pretty nice, and they do a good job. And this is where most of the topics are today. All right, so let's jump right in there and get onto Creatio. All right, so here we are in our Creatio. Let's go open up, let's say, an account field. So let's say you have a field in the system that you would like to control, and we're going to kind of cover that, how we can manipulate that. For example, maybe if you pick a certain, let's say, type, you want a field to be shown or become editable based on whatever type is picked. So let's say you want, if someone picks customer, in this case, yeah, we'll pick customer. Then let's say code becomes editable. Otherwise, it's kind of not code, but also known as, you want to make that editable and required. Otherwise, you don't want it to be editable. So let's go ahead and we're going to do that. Open up our page. So we'll open up our section wizard. And these business rules are done on the page level. So think your account page, contact page, product page, activity, any of those things. So as you can see, I'm looking at my account page, kind of the designer view. And here's all the fields. Here's my type that we were just talking about. Here's the also known as. So let me select my also known as. I'm gonna hit my pencil real quick. And by default, let's say we make this field read only. Okay, so we have made this field read only. Now we're gonna go set up some business rules, and I'm just gonna click business rule. And if your page needed to be saved, it will pop up and tell you this like it does now. And yes, go ahead and save me. Now that's because we just told the system that we want that also known as field to be read only by default. So that's why it's prompting me for that. So let this save. And then we're going to go in and work on the business rules and define those and say, hey, if you pick a certain value, we want that field to be editable, maybe required as well. And so we'll work on that. All right, we're almost done. There we go. Okay, as you can see, we have some set up already, and we can cover those in a little bit. But let's say we're going to work on our business rule to make that field editable. So add business rule. All right, name, it just tells you that it gets filled in automatically and you can't change that. So the way business rules work is you have any kind of optional, well, sometimes required, sometimes not required, condition to say like, oh, if a field is this certain value, or if it's filled in, or if it's empty, or if a system setting is a certain time or certain value, then go ahead and do that. But we're going to say, in this case, field. We're going to say we're a field, and the field we want is called type. So I'll just start selecting that. And I'll say if the type is equal to, and I can either choose another field in the system, a specific attribute or system setting, but we're going to do a lookup. And it knows that it's looking at the account type value because that's what it's tied to. We're saying, hey, if this is a customer, then we do our action. So big if, just read logically, if the field type is equal to customer, then what do we want to do? We can do these 5 things in business rules. Show a field or element, make a field required, make it editable, add a filter, or set a field value. In this case, we are going to make a field editable. And what field do we want to make editable? And that was the also known as, so like that. And we will hit apply. Now notice I cannot keep adding actions. I'm hoping that happens some time down the line, but currently I cannot do that. So I'll do that one, and it gives it a nice name. So also known as make field editable. So let's say we want to make that required as well. So I'll do the same thing. I'll say when my type is equal to my lookup of customer, then I want to make it required, and that's also known as. Okay. So now we have 2 business rules that we just defined. Making a field required, making a field editable. These are enabled. If you ever need to disable one, you can just select it and then hit disable. And again, these business rules only affect things when you're interacting with the page, like through the browser or the mobile app or something like that. So let's go ahead and we will jump into that. We'll save this record real quick. And just so you know, you can do the business rules on the page. You can also set up business rules on the mini pages, like that little activity pop-up or any other kind of mini page in the system. Opportunity mini page, all that stuff. Okay, so it is saved. We go back and I'm going to refresh. We just have to refresh our session here since we made some changes. And I was already logged in. All right, so I'm still on the account page. And maybe just to speed things up. Oh, there we go. So you'll notice I have a type customer. Oops, let me go back there. And because this type is customer, it's telling me, hey, also known as has a red asterisk by it, so it's required. And it's editable. So let me just say RCI Corp. And I will save that record. Now, if I were to change that back, let's say, let's make it a supplier, you'll notice that the asterisk goes away. So it is not, and it has been locked in its natural state, meaning it is not editable, so I can't change anything. But if I change it back to customer, boom, my also known as is required, and I can edit it. And now I can save that record. So, good example of how you can take a field in the system and then have that drive an action onto another field or as many fields as you want. and have that, show up or not. All right. So let's jump in here and we're going to do something a little fun again. Um, so now we're going to show a field. You can also do other things as well. I had that. So, okay. So we're going to say, hey, price list, we only really care about it, again, if the type is a customer. Otherwise, we don't even need to show it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to edit the price list, and I want this to be hidden. Not even read only. Let's see if I can do that. So show a field. Okay. We will take that away. I will jump into my business rules. And I will say add a new rule. And same thing, if my type, and I'm just picking on type more than anything else, I guess, is customer, then show an element on the page, and I want to show price list. All right. So we will jump back in there. Excellent. We will save that and see if I did it right. Now that's going to think, and then we'll refresh and jump back in and see how we did. All right, so let's refresh that. And we're coming back. And here we are. Okay, so let's just, our company, we'll save that. We'll change you back to customer. That did not like me because I don't even have it on there. Okay. Oh, that's right. So by taking the field off of the form, I kind of messed up. And I forgot it had the built-in logic to say, hey, if there's a business rule in there, that field just doesn't show by default. Okay, so I put the field back on the form. We will save that and try this again. Glad you guys got to see me mess up a smidge, but it is easy to fix that. I didn't delete anything, so we're okay to change the visual appeal of things. All right, try that again. And the next ones we cover after this is adding a field values filter, and we'll kind of talk about that, and then setting a field value, like using a formula, like adding to a date or adding numbers together, things like that is what that can be really useful for. All right, so we have a price list, but if I change it to like partner, price list goes away. And if I put it back to customer, it shows up. So successful, keep the field on the form, when you set up a business rule for that field, it will automatically adjust it to only show it based on that business rule, but you still need to have it on the form, saved and happy. All right, so next, let's talk about adding a field values filter. And what does that mean? So basically, that's a way to tie drop-down values to each other or limit one lookup based on another lookup. So, for example, here's a good example. We're looking at an account, and when I hit my lookup to say primary contact, it's looking at all the contacts, whether it is for this account or not. So we want to limit this primary contact lookup to only contacts tied to this account. In order to do that, we're going to add a lookup value filter. And once again, we're going to jump into the page designer. And again, we're wanting in this case to limit the primary contact lookup to only contacts for this account or whatever account you're looking at. So that is done through a business rule quite easily. And we're going to add a new one. And we're going to say nothing in the if condition. If you're doing a field values filter, you don't do an if condition, and I'll show you. It like grays it out once you select the field values. So just again, I just jump to my action, add field values filter, and it grays that part out, so I can't even add an if condition. Okay, so here's where we're going. Which field to filter and which connection in this field's lookup am I going to use for filtering? So I'm filtering on primary contact, but if I try that, it will yell at me and say like, hey, that's not good enough. You need field name dot connection field name. So in this case, I'm going to clear that and do my lookup again. And I'm going to expand my account to show everything that it's related to. And again, I'm looking for primary contact. And I want to say, hey, I only want to show values where the primary contact, where the account of the primary contact. So this is what it should look like, field dot connection. So in this case, I'm looking for primary contact, and I want to filter it on the account. And I want to say it's equal to a specific field on my form, and it is looking at the parent account field. Okay, so this is maybe a little confusing at first, but it's saying when I look at my primary contact, I want my primary contact's account value to match the parent account field on my record. So in this case, these two checkboxes, which was added and was nice because otherwise you had to do it with some code a little bit. It's saying, hey, if parent account field is modified, clear out my primary contact because I don't know what that is anymore. Or if I select a primary account or a primary contact, go ahead and fill out parent account with the account. In this case, I don't really need to worry about those, but I'm going to hit apply here. And you can say we have, you can see we have another one, add filter, add filter, add filter. So this is saying, hey, on my state province lookup, add a filter by the country. And if I open that up, you'll see, hey, state province.country equals country. Primary contact.account equals, I might even want to, let's see, account fields. I really just want my ID. Equals field, lookup, account, note. attribute field related objects. Well, we'll try that. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to add one. I want to save. All right, so we will save that and see how it did. All right, let's refresh. And then after that one, we'll set a field value and then it'll be done for the day. If that one doesn't work, I'll show you another one working. All right, let me just jump to an order, show you how that works, or even an opportunity. There we are. That one did not work. Let's jump to another one. Let's jump to an order. There's a lot of fun we can have on an order. Okay. Let's see. Do we have the contact in there? Okay, so let's look at this one. There we'll have some fun ones here. So let's go ahead and open that up. Okay, page designer again. We're looking at an order. We're going to show you that the filter criteria does work. And we're going to look at our business rules. And let's jump into one to say, basically, if you're on order and you're looking in the opportunity field, you only want to show them for that account. So again, same thing. We're saying, hey, I'm looking at opportunity. And I'm looking at the account field on an opportunity. And I want that to match the account field that has been populated on the order. So right here. So I have an account called RCI Corp. I only want to see opportunities for that account. And if I select my fields to display here real quick, I can just show you that on the opportunity, I can select account and we'll make that bigger. Save that for everybody. Okay, just to show you, account is all RCI Corp. So select that. So that is how that business rule works. All right, I'll cancel that one. Now, let's say when you are filling out um, something here and you say my order date is, in this case, 11/21. I want my, for whatever reason, my planned end date, just another date, to be, let's say a month later. So same thing, we will set up our business rules and we'll add a new one. And we'll say, hey, if, let's jump back, date, all right, so my date field, if that date is filled in, and we're just saying if it has any value, then set a field value, and we're going to say what field we want, and we want to set, in this case, actual end date, and we want it to be either a value from another field, which we can show you, or we can do a formula. In this case, we'll do a formula, and we'll say, hey, let's see, you have formula box, parameters are basically fields, functions are, dates, mainly date functions. So let's say in this case, we want to add to date, we want to add days, and we want our date, so we'll say date. And then after the comma, we want to add a number of days. In this case, we're just going to add 30 days. So you just type in 30. So in the formula, and again, you can get some good help here with lots of good information about all the different formulas. We're going to say, hey, when date is filled in, add 30 days to the date field and set that in the actual, let's go with planned end date field. I'll have to redo that. Okay. Oop. And I'm going to add to date, add days. I'm going to pick my date field and put 30 in again. And I will save that and apply that. And let's go ahead and go back to the section wizard. We have to save everything before we're done. And that will finish saving soon. All right. Now let's go ahead and reload that. Ooh, we're getting close. And then we'll, once this finishes loading up, we'll change the date and show you that it will populate 30 days. Some other things you can do with the field value is like adding numbers together. So if it's, this plus this and doing basic math, you can also say like, hey, if, I'm adding a, product to an order or something, you can say, hey, when I look up the product, set my description on my order line to the product description, and you can pull that field from the related object. Another common example there. Or if you're filling out an order and you select an account, you want to automatically populate the primary contact. That's another possible thing there. Okay, so nothing in there. So let's go ahead and say, hey, 22nd, and you'll notice it adds 30 days to my planned end date. And if I pick, hey, look, there's 12/25, so easy peasy. So again, you can do all this by just using some no code logic behind the scenes to interact with the pages. Hopefully that was helpful for everybody. And let's jump back in. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Switch. There we go. All right, links. All right, what's coming up? We're doing this one today. And then Tuesday, the January 10th, we're going to talk about processes and then continue that into February. And the second would be probably like a year-long course if you wanted to, but we'll have fun with that. And then as usual, if you have any suggestions, please email Betsy Frank or myself, Chris Isbell, with any ideas or topics. We appreciate it. Have a great day.